Welcome. I am Andrea Hobley, President of the League of Women Voters, Woodbury Cottage Grove area. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our program this evening. We will be getting an update and learning about the Gold Line. For those of you unfamiliar with the League of Women Voters, we are a grassroots organization that has been in existence for over 100 years. We are a trusted source of nonpartisan voter education. Our program tonight is one of several educational programs that our League hosts every year. The League's mission is to encourage informed and active participation of citizens in government, work to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influence public policy through education and advocacy. I'd also like to share our nonpartisan policy. The League of Women Voters is nonpartisan, neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties at any level of government, but always working on vital issues of concern to members and the public. So just a few housekeeping items before we start today. This is our normal webinar format. So for people who are attending live, just so you know, we have the Q&A open for questions. We typically use the Q&A instead of the chat just because it's a little easier to keep track of questions as we go through. So if you submit a question, we will get them even if you don't see it everyone's, but we will be getting questions and then we will mark them that we'll answer them, and then I will ask them at the end of the program after the presentation. Also, just so you know, the program's being recorded and will be up on our YouTube page, usually within a few days. So if you want to share this with other people or rewatch it, you can find it on go to YouTube and look for LWV Woodbury Cottage Grove area, and it'll be there. Our speaker tonight is Morgan Abbott. She is the Deputy Project Manager of the Gold Line Bus Rapid Transit Project. Morgan has a degree in civil engineering from Michigan Technological University and is a licensed engineer in the state of Minnesota. Morgan joined the Gold Line project in August of 2021 and serves as a member of its management team in the project office and provides leadership in facilitating the activities of the project team, including outreach, environmental, document control, engineering, and design. Well, welcome, Morgan, and I will turn it over to you.
Great, thank you so much. I'm going to turn off my video as I go through this. So thank you so much for inviting us to hear more about the project. So I'm going to go through an project overview, and then I'll get into construction and everything else. So I just want to start off with the project. So this is a BRT project, which is Bus Rapid Transit, and I'll get into that in 2 more slides. But so here's our line. It's just over 10 miles long, and it's going to include 16 new stations. It's going to have frequent all-day service operating primarily in bus-only lanes. The budget for the project is $505.3 million. We will have 17 branded 60-foot buses. 12 of them will be diesel, 5 of them will be electric. BRT, so there will also be BRT upgrades to the existing East Metro Garage in St. Paul. So that's just north of downtown St. Paul, east of 35E. So that is an existing bus garage, and we need to make improvements. Currently, there aren't any electric buses out of that garage. So we're helping, we're really excited to make the improvements there so they can have electric buses operate out of there. We're also building 3 surface park and rides and 1 parking structure. So if you look on the map, it's these little P's. So this is a surface park and ride behind Sunray Shopping Center. There's going to be a new park and ride at the Helmo station just north of 94. There's an existing park and ride at the Queen station, so that's at Woodbury Theater. And then we're building a 3-story park and ride structure at the Wood Lane station, which is at the East End terminus. We also have 8 grade separated BRT crossings. I'll get more into that later. So the project is made up of lots of partnering agencies. So how these projects get started is they're county led. So this project was led by Washington County in partnership with Ramsey County, and it was called the Gateway Corridor. And so the counties lead the project to approximately 30% of the project development. So that's where they have the route set, all the The partnering cities are ingredients and are part of the project development. Um, and then once you get to 30%, you're through the environmental documentation, and also you're also teed up for federal funding. So once that happens, then the counties then hand over the project to the Metropolitan Council, and their Department of Metro Transit leads the project, and that's when it gets its color designation. So that's when it went from Gateway Corridor to Gold Line. So now then it goes into engineering. So then they do the full-on design, and then you go into construction. So um, the Gold Line Project Office and Construction Office is made up of 4 agencies, which is Metro Transit as the lead. MnDOT is very involved in this project. We are building 2 bridges or 3 bridges over MnDOT facilities, as well as a lot of our dedicated guideway. The road that we're building for this bus is in MnDOT right away. And then Washington and Ramsey County also have representation in the project office. Our other partners that the facility is going to go through is the City of St. Paul, Maplewood, Landfall, Oakdale, and Woodbury. So the Gold Line is part of what's called the Metro Network. So the Metro Network within Metro Transit is made up of light rail and bus rapid transit. So light rail is, we have 2 light rail lines in the Twin Cities. We have the Blue Line, which was the first one built, and it goes from the Mall of America to the south up to downtown Minneapolis. And then we have the Green Line, which goes from downtown St. Paul to downtown Minneapolis. The Green Line is under construction with an extension that goes out to Eden Prairie, and the Blue Line is in the planning phase for an extension that will go up to Brooklyn Center. And then the bus rapid transit. So we have 2 different classifications with bus rapid transit. We have arterial bus rapid transit, which is you have the high frequency buses and the stations with the added features, meaning that you pay for tickets at the station, not on the bus. It has heaters. It has the signs that tells you real-time signs, which tell you when the next bus is going to be arriving. But they don't have dedicated lanes. The buses run in traffic with regular cars. The Guideway BRT, which is what Gold Line is, has either dedicated lanes or dedicated roadway. So it runs similar to a train and can keep a schedule closer. It's easier to keep schedule that way too if you're running in your own lanes and running in and not fighting traffic for space. So those are the ones that are already in service in the Twin Cities are the Orange Line and the Red Line. The Red Line was the first one built that goes from Mall of America south down Trunk Highway 77. And then Orange Line opened up about a year and a half ago, and that runs from downtown Minneapolis down to, I forget the terminus where that ends at, but it runs south down 35W. And then, so now we have Gold Line, which is going to be the first of its kind in the state that has dedicated roadway. So we're building road, and the only entity that's allowed to drive on that piece of roadway is the bus. And that's going from downtown St. Paul out to Woodbury. So you can see that here on the map. Purple Line is also in preliminary design phase. That one is still getting worked out where that route's going, but that's the next one that's coming up behind Gold Line. And then there's another one here. The black line is Riverview Line. That's slated to be a light rail at this moment. So the Gold Line schedule, so we started project development January of 2018, and that's a 2-year process to 2022, and that's really when the environmental assessment gets done. This is when the counties were leading the project. Once we got through there, then it moved on to engineering, and that's when Metro Transit led the project. So that was from January 2020 to August of 2022 when we started construction on our main civil contract. So now we're in year 2 of our second full year of construction. So August of 2022, we did do a lot of construction that fall and that winter, but it really picked up spring of 2023. That was our first full construction season, and now we're entering into our second full construction season. We're slated for construction to be substantially complete in end of October of this year. with revenue service starting next spring, 2025. So funding for this project for the 505.3 million. So 51.37% is coming from federal funds, 48.16% is coming from county funds, and 0.47% is coming from state funds. So like I said before, we are building 8 grade separated BRT crossings along the 10-mile corridor. So the first 6, I'm going to go from west to east. They're the bridges or the underpasses. So when I say bridge, I mean the buses are going to go over that roadway. When I say underpasses, that means that the buses are going to go under that roadway. So we're building a bridge for the bus to go over Johnson Parkway. Last year, we built a bridge over the I-94 Trunk Highway 61 Etna interchange. We are currently under construction with an underpass at White Bear. We built an underpass last year at Ruth Street. And then we're currently building bridges over McKnight and Century. And then we do have 2 bridges that are going to span over interstates. So 4th Street Bridge is currently under construction. So that's the one that we're replacing over 694. That's under construction right now. And then last year we built the Bielenberg Drive Bridge over I-94. So, and I have some pictures to share with you. So this is the Etna Bridge. So this was the first winter, so winter of 2022. You can see the piers are getting built. It's the middle of winter. So this was what it used to look like. And if you go out there today, this is what it looks like now with the bridge complete. So we're still building the roadway on each side, but the bridge is now complete. And then if you ever want to know where we are, I did place these little maps on the bottom of the slides. Where the blue star is where we're at on the map. So this is White Bear. This picture was taken today. So here, the White Bear Avenue is closed. So we're moving. You can see the pavement on the ramp is removed. Some of the pavement on White Bear itself is removed. So we are realigning this ramp, the off ramp here, and then the on ramp. It's off the picture. You can't see it, but we're moving that closer to I-94, so we have space between the adjacent buildings and the ramp to fit the BRT roadway. And that was going to be an underpass as well as this. This is Ruth Street. This is what it looked like this time last year. You can see we already have the pavement removed on Ruth, and then the pavement on this on-ramp has been removed. These are pile drivers. So this is what gets put in to stabilize the bridge in the soil so we can start moving soil away and making room for that new bridge. So if you go out there today, this is what it looks like. So you can see this right here, you can see where the bus is going to go underneath. You can see the ground's already graded where the future roadway is going to be installed, which is going to happen this summer here in front of Sunray Shopping Center. This picture was also taken today. This is at McKnight. This is the bridge that we're building. You see 3M campus in the foreground. And then this is on the other side of the 3M campus. This is at Century. This is a new bridge that we're building over Century Avenue. This is the 4th Street Bridge. So this is what it looked like about 3 months ago out there. This is what it looks like today. So you can see that we've taken the existing bridge down. We have the new piers up, the new abutments. The abutments is where you go from having dirt under you to being on the bridge. That's that transition point. So the new abutments are in. So this line that you see that's still bridged across, that's a fiber line. That's utilities that was tucked under and attached to that previous bridge. So there wasn't a way for us to really relocate this for construction. So what we did is we had our contractor build a structure. So you see these metal arms underneath it holding it up. So we're going to build the bridge around this fiber. So the bridge is going to go up and then it's going to be tucked under the new bridge. And then the last bridge, this is Bielenberg Bridge. This is over 94. So this is what it looked like November of 2022. And then this is what it looks like today out there. So when I say guideway types, there's a couple different types of guideway when you're working with a bus rapid transit. So mixed traffic is where the bus is in with general traffic. That's the top left image. That's arterial BRTs. Those are how those operate. We do have some of our line in mixed traffic. But about approximately 75% of the line is one of the other three options. So top right is dedicated curbside running. So that's where there's dedicated lanes. They're just on the outside of the roadway. Bottom left is dedicated side running. So I'm sorry, the pink area is bus only lanes. The yellow is traffic lanes. So this is where you have two roadways kind of sistered together side by side where the buses run um, on its own roadway that's just right next door to the main traffic. And then there's dedicated center running. So that's where the buses run down the middle and then traffic's on the outside. So think of University Avenue where Green Line goes. Green Line is center running all the way down University, and that's what's going to be out on Bielenberg. So we have this really fun map that's full of information, but this breaks down where all these different types of operations are happening with the Gold Line. So red is dedicated guideway, so it's one of those three with dedicated lanes for the buses, either the side running, the shoulder running, or the center running. Blue, blue is the outside running, and then purple. That dotted purple is mixed traffic. So we do have a little bit of that. We do have a couple pinch points where we couldn't fit dedicated bus lanes, specifically downtown St. Paul. And then there's a strip in St. Paul between the Etna and Hazel Station. Also around Tanner's Lake is really tight. So that's where it's in mixed traffic. And in Woodbury towards the end of the line, so just south of Tamarack Road, is where the bus transitions from center running to a mixed traffic running, and it will run the down Guider the same way. So I've got some rendering. So here's an example of the side running. So this is the kind of the sister where you have an existing roadway and you build a separate bus facility right next to it. So this is the Mound Station. This is as you're coming out of St. Paul on the Kellogg Bridge. This is the intersection. So this is the start of the bridge. And then it transitions from Kellogg to 3rd Street and then Mount Boulevard. So we're adding that BRT guideway. So where you see that red, that's bus only road. And then the yellow blocks, those are the platforms. So that's the station. And then this is a rendering of Bielenberg. So this is the Tamarack station. So this is just north of the intersection of Bielenberg and Tamarack. So you can see this is center running. So buses will only move in that light gray area down the middle. The red indicates bus only lanes. When you're stopped at that signal, it's a visual to say, nope, that's a bus lane. I can't go down there. And then you can see the stations on either side of the intersection. That's that yellow blocks. So the bus will pass through the intersection and then the stop will be what's called far side. The dark gray is where general traffic will run. And then I've got another rendering of another perspective of looking at this. So this is looking south on Bielenberg. So you can see that the center is going to be bus only, and there's a rendering of the station platform. And then you can see on either side is where the traffic's going to be. And then also, we're also putting in 10-foot trails on both sides of Bielenberg with this project. This is a rendering of what the station's going to look like at Tamarack. My next slide, I'll detail out what all the amenities are. So this is the Maplewood station rendering. I included this just because it called out all the enhancements. So we've got trash and recycling bins. We have the ticket vending machines. So one of the differences between local buses and BRT buses is that you do pay your fare at the station, not on the bus. This has heated this has heaters on it. There will be bench seating. There's real-time arrival information where it will tell you when the next bus is coming. We have the pylon station marker. We have lighting. We also have safety enhancements. There will be cameras. There's emergency telephones. There's going to be bicycle parking. These are, most of our stations are 10-inch curbs. So if you're out in your neighborhood or along a road, curb height is usually between 4 and 6 inches. This one, our curbs are generally 10 inches, and that's just due to the level boarding. So we want it to really, you have a very similar experience to a train. So when you're on the platform, you don't have to step up or down to get into the bus. You just level board. So if you have a stroller or you're in a wheelchair, you just roll on. So along with all the roadway improvements and the structures and the bridges we're building, we're also building a significant amount of trails and sidewalks. So all these purple lines are new or replaced sidewalks and trails that are going in with our project. So this is Kellogg coming out of downtown, on the top. The, the top rendering starts with Kellogg, and as you move east down 94, you can see the Etna station. There's a lot. I know if you've ever been out there, there's a lot of what we call goat paths crossing 94 underneath, where there's so many people walking that the grass won't grow anymore because there's so many people. So we are adding pedestrian facilities there, which is a big improvement. We've heard a lot from the community there. That's very appreciative. We are adding a trail. If you look to the right in Woodbury, along the whole east side of Bielenberg that isn't there today, and we're filling in a gap on the west side. So at the end of our project, we are going to build a 3-story park and ride. So that's under construction right now. This is at the intersection of Wood Lane Drive and Guider. So it's kind of right behind where Kohl's and Target, that shopping center is. It's kind of tucked behind there, just down the street from the Woodbury Theater. So it's going to have 3 driveways. So the pink color is bus only, whereas in the intersection, cars can go in there and go into the park and ride. So it's a mixed use driveway. That center driveway is bus only. And then the driveway at the very bottom of that image, that will be just for, no buses will use that one. That will just be for patrons coming and going in and out of the park and ride. So here's a rendering of what it's going to look like when it's done. And it's going to have the same enhancements as the other stations with real-time sign, heaters, emergency. There's going to be cameras all throughout the structure. So here's what it looked like about a month ago out on the construction site. And then here's what it looks like this week. So the vertical structure is almost complete. Another note for this area as well is the county is building a licensing center across the street. So that construction is going to start. I think they have the groundbreaking in 2 weeks. So that construction is going to start here in the next month or two. So we're excited to partner with them to bring that service as well to the area. So on this project, we do have disadvantaged business enterprise requirements. We have goals and engagement that we do with the project. So we call these DBEs. So DBEs are a minority or women-owned business. So Met Council Office of Equity and Equal Opportunity sets our goals. So they look at what kind of work our contracts are proposing to be done, and then they do analysis in the area to see what kind of DBEs are available and percentage of work, and then they set goals for us. So those goals are in our bidding documents, so the main prime contractors know that they have to have so much DBE work included in their proposal. And then with that, we call OEEO is our office. That staff provides regular updates to funding partners. So the Federal Transit Administration and our county partners get monthly updates on those. To date, we have 21.7% of our whole project has been paid out to DBEs. So that includes not only our out in the field contractors, but that also includes our engineering staff and our legal staff and our right-of-way staff that are contracted on. So How do we engage with DBEs? So we do during the bidding process, our procurement office holds a mixer and we invite DBEs and the contractors to give them space to mingle and to meet each other and to hear about what services each one provides. And um, project staff is not included in those meetings, but project staff will go out prior to any bids going out, any advertisements going out. MnDOT has a really nice DBE, um, a monthly meeting that they hold to let DBE staff know of upcoming projects. So Gold Line BRT construction, so 47 out of the 87 Minnesota counties have someone bringing home a Gold Line BRT check. So employing workers from 54% of counties statewide. So the project is reinvesting in communities throughout the Twin Cities and the state as a whole. If we're just looking at the construction billing, the contractor's billing 25 million through January of 2024 has been billed for disadvantaged business enterprise, which make up 22% of the total contractor's payment, which is exceeding. So we have two main contractors out there right now, one of which is building the 3-story park and ride. The other main contractor is building majority of the rest of the project. So one of them has a DB goal of 17.1%. The other one has a goal of 16.4%, and combined they're exceeding that goal. So now I'm going to get into construction updates. So this is kind of a preview. This graph kind of previews what has happened in 2022, 2023, and then what's going to happen in 2024. So we've had a lot of work done. So in 2022, you can see downtown platform work at Rice Park, Cedar, Minnesota, Robert, Wakuta, and then also the Bielenberg Bridge. A lot of that work was in there. We also had the Etna start in the winter. So 2023, we had a lot of work, and now 2024, a lot of those areas that were under construction last year are still going to be under construction this year, just not as intense. There's some final lifts of pavement that need to be done, and then landscaping is going to start up at the second half of this summer. So this is so everything in red is continued construction work from last year, and blue is new construction work that's happening this year. So this is downtown. These are all the stations and platforms that we have downtown. And then as we move east out of downtown, you can see red again is work that was under construction last year, and blue is new this year. So, and it gives a little summary. So continued work includes final paving, sidewalks, landscaping, station work, and then bridge construction. And so this is on the far east side of the project. So you can see where the in landfall in Oakdale is going to have the majority of the really heavy construction this year, where Woodbury had it last year. So we're just continued work includes final paving, sidewalks, landscaping, and station work. Guider Drive, that one's closed right now because we're building that station right there at the Woodbury Theater. So there's a lot going on. How do we keep the public up to date on what's happening with construction? We have a lot of meetings. We have resident meetings. So prior to, if we're coming into a neighborhood, if there's a lot of construction that's about ready to start, we like to hold afternoon meetings outside of normal business hours to let the residents know and to give them, answer any questions they may have. We do a lot of business outreach. We do mailers. We do a lot of flyering to local businesses and to people's homes. Our main form of social media communication is Twitter, now called X. We do have a construction hotline that is answered by construction staff. It's answered during normal business hours. There is a voicemail. If you are calling outside of business hours, that does get checked regularly, and I think you'll get responded to within 24 hours. We also, every Friday, we publish a construction update. Majority of that is by email. You can go up and there's instructions in a couple slides from now on how to sign up for those email, but if you prefer like a hard copy, a paper copy of those updates, you just have to email us and we're happy to drop that in the mail for you. So this is just an example of some of our outreach material. So the front middle, that's an example of a postcard of what we send out, notifying people of future closures. The back left one is a construction access plan. So that's what we hand out to businesses to let them know where access is going to be during construction. And then the back right one, that's our yearly construction overview. So if you go to our construction website, you can view that one now. And that just gives a lot of information of what our process is and what kind of construction work you should expect in your area. So this is how you sign up for that weekly construction email. So you just go to our website, you'll see a tab that's highlighted in yellow that says construction up on the upper picture. And then you'll see subscribe to Goldline project update. You just click on that and it'll take you to this email update window that you see in the front. If you have any problems, please call us or send us an email. We're happy to help you. So so construction is planned, is substantially complete end of October of 2024. And then opening day isn't until spring of 2025. So there's a lot that happens in between those two dates. So construction's going to be complete, and then we start integration testing. So we test all of our communications and our systems, all of our IT equipment that's out on the stations. That's going to start late 24 and go into 2025. Driver training is a big one. Metro Transit has an extensive driver training program for any, even the existing drivers have to go through training for every new route that they get assigned. Complete safety and security verification at every station. So that's going to take us until early 2025. And then opening day, and it just got announced that it's going to be March 22nd, 2025 is when Goldline is going to start operation. So once it operates, I know we've got a lot of questions about safety and security. Metro Transit does have an action plan. I put the website on here, metrotransit.org/public-safety. So they give, I can go through here. So it's layers of official presence within the transit facilities. So at the very top of it is the Metro Transit police officers. Metro Transit does have their own sworn police officers on staff. The next tier down would be community service officers. So those are Metro Transit staff that are in training to become sworn officers. And then they do have a program called TRIP, which is Transit Rider Investment Program agents. So these TRIP agents are contract employees. They're out on the line. They're the ones that are checking fares and just being a presence on transit. We do have supplemental security officers at strategic locations among the transit services. And then we also have Transit Service Intervention Project, which is TSIP. So that's nonprofits that come on transit and they have their bridge. So if there's any services that are needed amongst the riders, they approach the riders and offer those services to help them either get mental health help or substance abuse help or housing help. So they have all those resources and approach them, making sure the riders and the people using the facility know that those opportunities are out there for them. So another campaign that's going on that Metro Transit has is Take Pride in Your Ride campaign. Your role as a rider. So there's a pamphlet out there that explains what the council adopted rider code of conduct is and versus what is illegal activity. They're putting these signs out at 164 bus rapid transit platforms, 60 light rail platforms, 23 transit centers. In addition to that, you'll see a lot of stickers going up on transit where how to report problems. So if you see suspicious or threatening behavior, obviously if it's immediate threat, call 911. Otherwise, there is a number you can text. When you're in a bus or in a train, if you look to the front, there is a ID number. You just text them that information, a summary of what's happening or what you're viewing. There's cameras, so they'll bring up the cameras. And they'll get transit police notified and on their way to either the bus or the train that you're on. There's also a phone number you can call if you see something for a maintenance issue, if it's something dirty or broken or something's not right about something, then there's a separate number for customer relations. And then with that, I put on the Gold Line project website. Again, if you have any questions about construction, there's a construction hotline. Otherwise, if you have any additional questions that I can't answer tonight or come up as you're thinking about the presentation today, you're more than welcome to email them and they'll get answered within 24 hours. So that concludes my presentation. So I know, Andrea, you guys are tracking questions, and I will do my best to answer questions if they come up. Do you want me to stop sharing?
It's up to you. I know you mentioned that you might go
Okay.
back to some slides, as
Yep.
you go, depending on the question. So there's a few questions. I'm not going to go totally in order here, but there were a few about the Woodbury Transit Station. So the
Yep.
first question about those was, are there going to be restrooms at the Woodbury Transit Station?
There will not be public restrooms. There will be restrooms. So that is the break facility for the drivers.
Got
So
it.
there will be facilities for the drivers. There'll be a break room, there'll be a mother's room, and there'll be restrooms, but they're not open to the public.
Great. Okay. Let's see. I know one of the other ones is about, well, the question was, I don't believe I saw that there's parking available at the Tamarack Road Station. Can you answer that question first? If not, I'll ask their follow-up question.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep. No, there's no park and ride at the Tamarack station.
Okay.
The closest one, so there's one to the north at the Helmo station on the north side of the Bielenberg Bridge. Otherwise, Woodbury Theater to the south will be the next closest one.
Okay. Yeah. So then the follow-up question is, what is the radius of ridership that you expect from for that station then, without having parking there?
Right. So I don't have the specific numbers for those in front of me right now. And the ridership data was done pre-COVID. So the ridership numbers that we do have, I don't know how accurate they are. So, and it's a big lift and it's a lot of work to redo those numbers, and the models are completely different now than what they were before. So we're not planning on rerunning those numbers. Just for there's no requirement for us to do it, and it costs a lot of money. So we're not going to do that, but we look forward to opening day to see how many riders are out there.
And it sounds like, is the Woodbury theater parking still available for, I know that had been a park and ride stop, but I know that was when they had the express bus, and that's not running anymore. Is that right?
No, the express bus came back, so
Okay.
that's running, and that park and ride is open. Yep, you can park and
Okay.
ride there. Yep.
Great. Okay. I used to take that when I worked downtown.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just check on the Tamarack. There might be another Tamarack station question, but that's the one that I see right now. But okay. So will the 351 express bus route cease to exist with the new BRT? And what is the anticipated runtime from Woodbury 494 station to downtown St. Paul?
Right. So, no, we're not anticipating. I don't know of any. I've not heard of any modifications to existing routes due to Gold Line. Um, so I don't believe that one is, to my knowledge, I have not heard of that one being modified. I don't think it is. But I can get back to you on that if I'll ask that question back to operations. And we don't have a runtime. We won't know that until we start doing testing. And I know the city of St. Paul is planning on doing a lot of work on the Kellogg Bridge. So that will impact runtime as well if we have to detour around that bridge. So opening day, we don't know. We'll have to wait till that testing. So that time period from when construction's done to opening day, that's what we're doing is we're running the buses. A lot of times we're training the drivers and we're getting that schedule nailed down.
Got it. Great. So that'll be what's happening during that. Was it that sort of the end of this year, beginning of next year before opening day in March?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, great. Okay. Another question is, I know the ticket purchase is available at the stations. I remember we saw that in the pictures. But I'm wondering if there will be an online route to purchasing tickets and or bus passes.
Yeah. So Metro Transit, it was in the news about a month or two ago that they're upgrading all of their ticket to work on your phone. So all of our ticket vending machines will be the latest and greatest and have all the technology that is is present or is getting upgraded right now on all the other stations.
Great. So one other question that I actually think is a good follow-up to the frequency question, or to the runtime question, but the question is about frequency, if there's any plan or information for how frequently the buses will be running at this point, even if we don't know the runtime.
Right. No, we don't know that until we know the scheduling. So frequent all-day service. So it could be anywhere. I don't even want to speculate, but it's frequent all day. So it'll be more frequent than a local route. We don't know what that is until we do the testing.
Sure. Okay. And then part of that question was also, if it would be offered, if it's going to be running 7 days a week.
Yes, right now it's planning to be run 7 days a week. It's not 24-hour service, but it's all day service, meaning really like early in the morning, like 5, 6 a.m. to 11 or 12 at night.
Okay.
So there will be a few hours in the middle of the night where it doesn't run. And the park and ride does not allow overnight parking. So you can only park in the park and ride during when the bus is operating.
Okay, great. Let's see. Who will be responsible for clearing snow at the platforms, park and ride and designated roadways? I guess I think the question is that like a city responsibility or a county responsibility, or who's responsible for that?
So we're in the midst of maintenance and operation agreements with partnering agencies. So right now we're talking with the counties about plowing the guideway and the adjacent roadways. So we're working with the cities and the counties about who's going to take responsibility of that. Platform snow maintenance is with Metro Transit, and sometimes that's Metro Transit staff, and sometimes that's a contracted service that's done. Usually, it- things people come out and remove snow when you get 3 inches or more.
All right, the next question is do we know what the basic cost, like a rough idea of what the cost would be from Woodbury to St. Paul, if that's something we know yet or not?
Oh yeah, it'll be basic fare price. So right now,
Okay.
if you were to go ride the Orange Line, it'd be the same price.
Okay. And then this one's actually not a question, I'll just read it. It says the project has done a great job providing info to the landfall community, including Spanish speakers, to assist residents. So that was a thank you
Oh,
comment.
that's great to hear. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for that comment.
I'm just looking, so that's all of the Q&A questions. Of course, I'm just gonna look through some of the questions that I was curious about, that I had prepared just in case we didn't get as many Q&A questions, but thank you for everyone who did submit those. Now here's another question, just to piggyback on that other one, was about what is the cost to Minneapolis? To piggyback on the question about the cost to St. Paul.
So it will depend on how you get to Minneapolis. So this one will
Okay.
take you from Woodbury to St. Paul. So there is an hour and a half that you have to use your ticket.
Mhm.
So if you transfer within that time, then it will just be one cost. So let's say if you jump on this and you get downtown in, I don't know, whatever, 45 minutes or however, I don't know how long, I'm speculating. That's not the official name or time.
Sure. Yeah.
Then you should have about 45 minutes left on your ticket. So if you hop on the 94, you hop on the Green Line to get to Minneapolis, that would just be a transfer, wouldn't be an additional cost.
Okay. This one that just came in is, I didn't hear who will clear snow at the park and ride. You said that that's Metro Transit's employees.
Yep. So Metro Transit will either their employees or usually at the park and ride stations and the platforms that usually gets contracted out. So there'll be a contracted vendor that comes out and does that.
Okay. So some of the questions that I had, kind of collected before we started were, concerned about local businesses being impacted by, either by the routes or construction, or I don't know if you have any comments about that in Woodbury specifically. I know like the Woodbury 10 Theater, for example. Was that question not clear enough?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if there was more to the question.
No, that's
Sorry.
all it
So,
was. Yeah. Sorry, I just
impacts to
realized it
business.
wasn't
Yeah,
that
sorry. No.
clearly. No problem.
So, businesses to construction are a real thing. It happens with any type of construction. My background has been highway construction, and I came onto this transit project in 2021. So, even highway projects, transit projects, construction in general is impactful in every. We understand that. We try to make it and work with the business owners as best we can. There isn't any. We're a federal project. we're restricted in how we can spend our money. So with that, there isn't any business support that we can use with our funding. That would have to come from a local source, either the county or the cities, and that wasn't set up for this project. So that would be something where so that there's just constraints with the money when you're dealing with big infrastructure projects that are this size.
Sure. Oh, that makes sense. The other questions that I see, I was trying to think about, questions that we, just here in the community and in Woodbury, I know that your role is more on the sort of construction engineering side, but many people have concerns about, the transit bringing more crime to Woodbury. I don't know if you have any, information about that or data or things to share
Yeah,
about that concern.
so with that, Metro Transit does have, like I covered here, the safety and security plan,
Mhm.
and that does have quarterly reports. So you can see trends on the network wide. I do believe it does break it down into some of the bigger routes or the areas that they're seeing a lot of crime. But from the national data and from what we're seeing, transit doesn't cause crime. It just generally highlights what's happening in the communities and brings it kind of to the surface. So it's just bringing more awareness of what is happening in your community, and you can actually see it a little more. It's more visible. So it's that. So that's why the safety action plan has this multi-tiered presence, where at the far right end, it's the TSIP program where we're partnering with local nonprofits to kind of to get them on our transit lines to help and to kind of bridge that gap from what the need is in the community and where the resources are to facilitate that. So it's a multi-prong approach. It has to be cohesive, and Metro Transit's trying their best and doing have really great partners in place right now. Um, Working with adjacent agencies and adjacent nonprofits to help highlight what's happening and help address it.
Mhm. I know the other part of that too is concern about it bringing um, people going through homelessness out
Mhm.
into the suburbs as well. And I know I saw that specifically when you were talking earlier. That's part of this as well, of the security and support. It looks like
Yep.
too. So yeah. Um, Sort of on the other side of, asking about how, businesses are affected by the development, but is there any sort of information about impact or of benefit to the communities as well?
Oh yeah. So we have what's called transit centered development. So Metro Transit has it on their website too. You can look it up. But we're already seeing multiple high density housing units going up. So on the Oakdale side, there's the housing development that's going up adjacent to our Helmo station that will have, I believe, on the first floor, it'll have a restaurant, and then it will be some high density housing. And in between White Bear and Ruth, there's a couple different, well, I think there's two different high density housing projects that went up there for housing. So we're seeing a lot of development. There was a lot of reporting out on what happened with Green Line along University Avenue with the redevelopment along there. And just in general with transit, how much development is really happens around high frequency transit.
Okay, great, thank you. I see there's one more, that was just a comment in the Q&A. I think that wraps us up. I mean, unless you have any other sort of closing comments about, I know you mentioned how to stay informed about the program
Yeah.
or, the email updates and things like that, but, any kind of closing comments for folks, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone who lives adjacent to the construction. We know it's very impactful, and it's frustrating when you have your normal routes and you get up in the morning on Monday and the route is completely changed. We do our best to get the information out there, but I know those orange signs kind of blend together after a while. So we really appreciate the public's patience in our construction. I promise it will be done soon at the end of the summer, and we're really excited to bring high frequency transit to the east side.
Great. Well, thank you so much. So I just thanks again to Morgan Abbott for the great information and answering all of our questions tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you also to our viewers for attending the program. And as a reminder that if anyone's watching there and they want to share it with their friends, or others in your community, that it will be available on the League of Women Voters, Cottage Grove area YouTube channel, which you can find just by going to YouTube and searching LWV Woodbury Cottage Grove area. It'll be one of your, or the top result usually. So, the other things I'm going to mention, because usually I might plug our other programs here, but we're coming to the end of our calendar year of programs. So I wanted to just mention, if you wanted to go back on YouTube and look at our March program, that's about policing, and with all of our local police chiefs and safety directors, we had people from Woodbury, Cottage Grove, and St. Paul Park, and also the Washington County Sheriff. That was a really wonderful program that's on our YouTube. And also our February program that was on Watersheds 101. And you could follow us for updates, because in the fall, we'll be having our candidate forums that are always, good information about our candidates in our local elections. So thank you again for joining us this evening. Good night.